I was in a trigger, with my partner, with Ashley. I was feeling angry, I was upset, and it really came down to feeling like she was putting expectations on me. And that was the surface level frustration. So obviously, no one's upset at what someone else is doing towards you. That's the first level of illusion. I'm upset because of what you did to me, what you said to me. That's the first level of illusion. Because again, the moment someone says something to you, that moment's gone. The fact that the moment is gone is actually proof that you are being invited to be, quote, healed from that moment, because it's not here anymore. It doesn't exist. It exists as a thought. So anything that is in the past that seems to affect us now has nothing to do with the past. It has everything to do with the story, the perspective that we are still holding on to now about that past. So I was in that level of illusion going, no, I'm upset because of the expectations I think you're putting on me, and you need to change them in order for me to feel good. And what I was experiencing in that moment was victimhood, was just feeling like, I was being controlled and I was powerless. And that the deeper level was, I don't want to be a disappointment, because if I let you down and I don't meet these expectations, I'm going to be a disappointment. And it brought up all these memories. Like as soon as I spoke that, as soon as I started realizing, okay, I'm not actually upset at you, whether or not you're putting expectations on me. I'm upset at what I'm making it mean. And what I'm making it mean is I'm not going to be able to meet those expectations, meaning that I'm a disappointment. There's something wrong with me. I'm a disappointment. It was like I started to acknowledge that, I'm actually just feeling like a disappointment. And it's like as soon as I acknowledged that, all this emotion erupted, and I started crying. And I had all these flashes come up of my coaches from different parts of my life in football and basketball, but specifically the coaches that when I was injured physically would ridicule me and be like, you're such a wuss, and you're letting the team down. Like, can't you toughen up? And I realized that translated to emotional wounds, not just physical wounds. So when I had an emotional wound come up, the inner dialogue was, oh, Brandon, you're so weak. And it's mind blowing to me, because I remember maybe 4 years ago when I was really introduced to healing trauma and transformation and being okay, not being okay. It was like, and I know all of you experience this, and this is just further permission for you all to experience this. But it's the thought of like, oh, I've worked on this already. I've worked on this so much. Who's experienced that? And it's like, who's the I I'm referring to? Oh, I've worked on this before. Well, who's that I? It's this past I, which is a memory. And so is that you? Or is that just a thought of you? It's just a concept of you. Even if I point to this me, I go, oh, this is me. It's like, well, the me I just pointed to is gone. It's now in the past, and now there's a new one, and it's gone, and a new one, and it's gone. And it's like, who am I? Anyway, so I'm in this question, I'm in this belief of it. Not only do I feel like a disappointment if I don't meet the expectations of others, which includes you guys too, because how I do anything is how I do everything. But if I end up feeling like like a failure or a disappointment, then I'm weak. So it's just a lose-lose, right? So I'm sitting there and all these memories are flashing, and I'm crying, and I just recognize where I go, wow, I can still find, and I could still see where I have a belief that it's wrong or bad to feel like a victim or it's weak. And that's how I was seeing Ashley in that moment, when my belief was, well, the only reason she's putting expectations on me is because she's not taking responsibility for her life. And therefore, all of these needs are manifesting. I need this from you. I need this from you to feel good, which again can only happen from a place of separation. And where there's separation, there's victimization. So I was coloring on her all of these judgments. And this is why the work of self-inquiry is so profound. And this is also why it could sometimes be easier to discover the beliefs of your unconscious mind by really looking at the beliefs that you're pasting on other people. That's why it's so helpful to do a judge your neighbor worksheet. Let me think of all these thoughts about you. And I remember in the middle when I was thinking, when Ashley was expressing herself, and I had this narrative in my mind. I was like, God, you're being such a victim. It's disgusting. And I caught that thought. I was like, wow. And immediately, it was like, I just turned it around, Brandon, you're being such a victim and you're disgusting. And then it was, is it true? Is it true that it's disgusting that I feel like a victim in this moment? And it was like, no, right? But I couldn't even question it until I started to acknowledge that that was actually what I was feeling. It's wrong. I had the thought come up: if I'm a victim and people and I'm seen as a victim, then people aren't going to believe in me. They're not going to follow me. They're not going to, what I mean follow, I mean just believe in the work that I do. And if they don't believe in the work that I do, then I'm not going to be supported in my passion. Then I'm going to have to go do something like bus tables. And it's funny because even that belief, that was something I looked at. I'm like, I've done so much work on this. I know that's not going to happen. But yet, there it is to look at. And what I got from it was, not only did I need to look at it again, but I got to look at it from a completely different angle. And the angle was that it's not, weak or wrong or bad to be a victim, even if it looks ugly, even if it looks like projection and anger and all of these things. And to, just, the turnaround was like, people will believe in me if I am a victim and acknowledge it, and I will be supported by acknowledging and loving that part of me. So all the turnarounds, it was in my mind more true than the thoughts that arise. And it was just such a great weight off. And again, those thoughts of like, oh, I can't believe I'm still dealing with the same thing. When I say I'm dealing with the same thing, it's like I'm aware of a pattern. I'm aware of the conditioning, but I and you are not the conditioning. And that's where a healthy form of separation occurs, which says that, and it's what Byron Katie says a lot, is like, I had to play out, I had to do what I did because I did it. I did what I did, and I couldn't have done it any other way because I didn't do it any other way, because that was the quote predetermined response of my conditioning. My responsibility is how I respond to it. And rapid forgiveness, which, I'm still learning, but compared to the past, has taken a lot less time to experience, is going, oh, okay, I'm aware of conditioning. Now let me not take my own conditioning personal. Let me not look at those thoughts and those behaviors personally and say that that is who and what I am, versus I am the one that is aware of the conditioning, that is aware of the pattern, and that me is unaltered, is unchanging. It's the same awareness if I were to be aware of something positive. And even, the story of something being positive and something being negative, even that is just a story. So who would I be without the thought that, my conditioning is who I am, is bad or wrong, has anything to do with me? It's just what the me is aware of. And because there's no right or wrong way, I don't need to change it. But when you're aware of it, it's hard to find a reason that you wouldn't want to drop those thoughts, because, typically they bring nothing but stress.